My name is Simon Mirren. I'm the former executive producer of Criminal Minds and showrunner. Currently, I'm under an overall deal with NBC Universal Television, developing shows for them, and also I'm involved in a co-production on a show called Versailles, which is a period drama about the building of Versailles through the eyes of Louis XIV, and that was around 1676. And I'm working with David Wollstonecraft, who I worked for and with on Spooks 10 years ago.
Can you tell us a bit more about the project, Versailles, if that's okay, and how that's going?
Versailles is a script that was kicking about, and it just didn't get greenlit, and Dave and I read it and looked at it, and it didn't work for us, but we liked the general world and the idea. And I was working, and I have a friend, Anne Thermopolis, who produced Rome, Band of Brothers, and numerous other shows. She worked heavily with HBO, and I looked at the project, and it's not really, that world is not my world. But fortunately, David Wollstonecraft always used to tell me proudly that he got a star first at Cambridge, but he never told me what it was about. So when I approached him about Versailles and I said, look, I think there is a world, there is a story, he said, oh, by the way, that star first, which I told you about, was in the study of King Louis XIV and Versailles. So I was like, well, that's fantastic. So together we decided we'd give it a go, and I think for me and for David, it was very important that we try to embark on working on a co-production, because I think that is the way forward. I think it's an exciting way forward, and this seemed to be like almost the best project to kind of cut our teeth on and experience and put together story with all these different elements. So we've been working on that, and we now have 2 scripts and a Bible.
And obviously, you very well know you've been behind Criminal Minds as well. That's done great things. So what have you learned from that project?
The things I learned most of all was not about writing. It was about how to run a show. And what I learned was that in America, when you look at all those credits and those, they credit after credit after credit, most of those people are writer producers, and so a showrunner is basically, you are the producer, you're the problem solver, you spend most of your time quite often down on set, breaking up fights, sorting out the catering. It's literally on every level. You are at the edit stage or at the casting stage, and you have to deal with the network, you have to deal with the studio, and you have to deal with the actors. You have to deal with actors that want a bigger trailer, you have to deal with actors that want to quit, you have to deal with actors that have punched another actor. And then in the middle of that, you've got to, then at the weekends, you don't see your family because you have to write your own scripts, and then you have to rewrite all the other writers that aren't any good at writing, but they're getting paid shitloads of money, so you've got to rewrite them as well. So across the board, it's like running a completely dysfunctional family of about 300-400 people, and sometimes the writing seems secondary.
And what about emerging digital platforms now? Are they changing the way you're looking at the industry and the way the industry goes forward? I
think Netflix is really changing, terrifying people. I think for the first time ever, the film industry is now actually pointing to Netflix and blame them for the fact that no one's going to the movies. I think a lot of people don't go to movies because a lot of movies are crap, but there are some great ones out there. But Netflix is really, when you look at the story of Netflix in 1997 or 1993, whatever it was, when he came out and was sending DVDs through the post, you never thought that CEO would change everything. And with the success of House of Cards, which, by the way, was, the Americans seem to think they created it. They didn't. It was brilliant. I loved it. But that model, everyone's now jumping on that model and saying it worked. We don't even know if it worked because they won't release the ratings on it. But I don't think there's any one model anymore. I think the model is whatever it took to make it. So I think people have to stop looking at a model that worked and say, I think we have to be a little bit brave in that, and I think that it's whatever model you find works for your script is the model that works.
And looking forward then, finally, over in the next 3 to 5 years, how do you think the industry is going to change?
I think the industry, especially in America, I think it will change dramatically. I think that the advertising revenue will meet parity in about 3 to 5 years with network TV. I think internet ad revenue will be the same price as like on network TV, and I think that there's going to be a massive shift because I think a lot of money is going to start tracking out of network TV, because we don't have to watch adverts anymore, quite simply. And I don't think that there's any. We can try and sue people like Dish, we can try and sue people like Aero, but it's never worked, it never will. And I think within 5 years we're going to see a fundamental, massive shift. And I think all the things that we're talking about today in European co-productions will be the norm.